Hi guys, and welcome back to Crafty Quilting Designs. I hope you're well and having a fantastic day wherever you are in the world. Okay guys, so before we get into this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, give me some love and subscribe to this channel because I know you enjoy it. I know you enjoy it, okay? Now guys, I just wanted to say, just as a reminder again, it's so important when you actually subscribe. As much as you watch the videos, subscribe and share the video out, okay? I'm really trying my best to grow my channel and I cannot do it without your help. So please support me by just subscribing and of course watching the videos, okay? Now just remember that all of this, all of the quilting, all of the supplies that I use, I buy them myself. I am not affiliated with anybody, so you are just simply supporting me, okay? And if you like me, I hope you do, fingers crossed. You're happy to do so, okay? So we are going to be moving on to our 5th episode of our Scrappy quilt series in my caravan. So I hope you're following along and you're enjoying the quilting and the making process of the quilts. Now what I want you to bear in mind, one of the ethos of this particular series is to use what you have. And I want you to understand that I don't have much supplies here with me. I literally just have scrap fabrics and a basic ruler, a basic sewing machine, rotary cutter, a very small one. I showed you all the things I bought when I was getting ready to start doing this, so you know exactly what I'm actually working with. So this is literally, you know, for beginners out there, don't tell yourself that you have to go out and buy all the glad rags you know, in the quilting world. As long as you've got a basic sewing machine, you've got some place to keep all of your items that you would actually need, you know, you can do this. And to be honest guys, I keep all of my sewing supplies in a drawer. In a drawer, that's all I have. Is a drawer. So excuse me, just bear that in mind. You don't need all the glad rags actually to make quilts, okay? So let's get started on episode 5, and today we are going to be making charms on point. That's it. It's a Scrappy charm square on point, so it's definitely a beginner friendly. What I have done is cut down all of my squares into 5 inches. Now I'm not going to show you me cutting because I think everyone knows to cut to 5-inch strips and just cut them into 5-inch squares. So I'm not going to show you me cutting anything. There is no particular pattern to follow, okay? Now, as I said, I've cut all of mine down from strips and whatever strips, let's get that right, and whatever yardage that I have as well. Now, I haven't been making the quilts, or I should say I haven't been quilting the quilts because realistically I just don't have the time to do it, okay? And also because we're doing the series, if I were to quilt the quilts, it will take me back. I will not be able to maintain the 10 weeks that I'm actually trying to do, because it's a 10-week Scrappy quilting series. So we're on episode 5, so it obviously takes me a little bit longer. Also, the quilts that I actually make, they are literally produced within that particular week, so it's a 5-day process to make them, depending on what I have to do during the day. So whether we step out and do some sightseeing, etc., or I'm just having a lazy day, which I seem to be having a lot of those these days. Yeah, so in that sense it is more or less a 5-day process, okay? I mean, if I were to sit down and literally go at it, I can most likely get the whole quilt up down in 2 days. All right, so so that's what I wanted to share with you. They really are short process quilt making. All right, so this week it's Scrappy squares on point, and I'm going to show you a really nice way of actually making a simple Scrappy square on point method rather than having to do setting triangles. We're going to keep it very basic, very easy. What I have done is lay out all of my fabrics, and I'll show that to you in terms of the color patterns, you know, or how the palette you want to play along. But at the same time, it doesn't really matter, guys, okay? You can just lay it out however you feel. And many times with me, it's all about what it feels like for me, what I am happy with when I am making my quilts. I don't think about other people's opinion, you know. So don't think that, oh, someone is going to judge your quilt based on the fact that you put this color next to that color. It's what you like. I see quilt making as art, and I think realistically that is what it is. It's your art, it's your piece of work. So don't hesitate to do what feels right for you. Okay, so that's it. So let's get right into this. And before I go, once again, don't forget to check out our new channel, Carl and Karen's Australian adventures. I need some water. Okay, I'll say that again, Carl's and Karen. I should know this by heart. Australian adventures. Okay, so check that out, see what we're up to on that side. I may at some point link a video on this channel, just so that you can, you know, be mindful of where we are and support us on that as well, guys. It'll really be exciting for you to see my same subscribers on that as well. It will be very supportive. I'll be honest about that. Just know that you have followed us in that channel as well. So without further ado, let me take you through how to make this scrappy squares on point, and hope you enjoy the process as much as I do. Bye for now, and happy quilting. Okay guys, so we're going to work with our squares. I have cut down 72 5x5 squares, and of course I've used from yardage, as I said earlier. This is not a charm pack, so if you have a charm pack that you'd like to make full use of, go right ahead, but you can cut them down. What I also have done to prepare myself is to group them into groups of 12. So each of these bundles here is 12 of these together, and all I've done, and the reason why I've done that is just so that later on I don't have to worry about moving the placement. You can do it that way. You don't have to be honest. Is as I was cutting, I was just pairing them off. All right, so I'm going to put this at the side at the moment. So we need 6 groups of 12. So because I've already paired them off, I'm just going to show you my color pattern here of what I thought of. In fact, I'm going to swap that around. Okay, a lot of the colors are repeated. So for example, you may find green, a different shade of green. I'll just pull that in the shot where you can see a different shade of green there. All right, probably I'll do it this way so you can see much better. And then that one goes there. This one I would lay there. And I've also done a little bit of fussy cutting, so just be mindful that if you are going to do some fussy cutting, you may lose inches of the fabric themselves. All right, and then that one there, and you can see why I decided was to actually, you know, group them while I was cutting. So when I'm going to sew, I am going to sew in groups of 2s. So these are my 2s, then 2s. Exactly the way I've laid them out is how I'm going to cut them. What I would say is, if you're using directional print, make sure all the print is laid out the same way within the quilt top. All right, so if you're using horizontal or vertical, make sure you lay it out that way for all of them. Just remember those little things, because those are the things people spot quite easily. And then the last 2 print here, as you can see, these 2 here are similar, but because I know they are somewhere else within the quilt top, it's not much of a big deal that they are literally on that same row. So I'm going to pop that one there. All right, so I'm not going to be fussful, because at the end of the day this is going to be cut. I'm going to sew it all together and then cut it again to make that particular on point pattern. All right, so that is the layout. So I'm just going to continue with my other group, lay it all out, and then all I'm going to do is just sew them front sides together. So I'm just going to sew now. So I spent the time cutting already. Now it's literally just to sew it together. Okay. Okay guys, so I have now completed all of the chain piecing, okay, and I've just left them bundled here. Now what I'm going to do is to now just count 6, okay, and then I'm going to cut. So for example, 1 2 3 4 5, one more, 6, and I'm going to cut. Okay, once I've done that, I am then going to sew them together in groups of 2s again. So for example, I'm going to open up this one and fold it over like so. Now for example, if I feel that this is too close, I may move it around, or I may not bother, to be honest. There are lots of reds within this quilt top, and blues and greens, okay, but I'm not really going to worry about where the color falls. So that's what I'm going to do with the ones that I've clicked off, okay. Just put that bunch back there. So that's it, and then obviously I'm just going to sew it front sides together until I have rows like this one here. Okay, so I have 1 2 3 4 5 6. All right, so you should have 12 of these. So you remember it's 6 by 12. Okay, so that's what we're aiming at. All right, so that's one done, and we'll continue with the rest. So again, just simply fold them out, sew them front sides together, and then we can sew them the whole strips together. All right, what I also want you to bear in mind is that once we have the whole collection of these, what you can do is, if you're not happy with where the colors fall, you can then use these as their general layout. All right, so which I'll show you when I get to that stage. So I'm going to continue. So as I get these together as a 6, or as a 12 I should say, what I will do is sew it, I get the rows, and I'll stack all of these rows together, and then I will do the layout in case I need to change around anything. All right, so obviously if I have these rows, then if I feel that, for example, the reds are too close to each other, like so, then I can just simply move it around. And look, I can see that I've made a mistake here. I'll show it to you. I'm going to take this one out. I have sewn these wrong side and right side. So I'm going to take that one out and then start again. Okay, so I will get my rows together and I'll show you the next step. All right, so went ahead now and sewn the strips together. So as you can see, all of the squares are together, so I sewed them together in rows of 2, and then from those rows then I made them a whole strip set. So you should have 1 2 3 4 5 6 together. Okay, and then what I did is then sewed 2 strips together, so 2 strips of 6 together. All right, as you can see there. Now I haven't sewn the whole thing together because as yet, what you do need to be mindful of though is when you're laying it out is that you don't mix your colors up. All right, so I laid them all out together first, and then I just simply added the strips together so that they don't be the same 2 color squares there. All right, also if you're using a pattern that's obviously needs to be right side up, just make sure you check it. Obviously I've not sewn it together at the moment, so I'm just showing you here the description as an example. So for this one here, I've sewn them together, but I'm not too fussed about that. Hopefully this is one of the areas that I may have to cut, and I may save myself from that. But what I did, so before I tell you what I did, so this is 1 2 3 4 5. You need 6 in total. For some strange reason, I honestly thought I had enough, so I now have to go back and cut some more squares. I need 2 4 6 8 10 12 squares because I just found myself searching high and low for another set of strips of squares, and I really don't know if I did cut it or I didn't. So now I have to go back in and do some more cutting. So don't make that mistake. Make sure you do your math properly. So 72 blocks. I obviously miscounted. Nevertheless, I'm going to have to cut now and make another strip set like this. So you literally need to have one of this. So 1, okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, and of course 6, because remember it's 6 rows by 12. All right, so that's the idea of it. But I'm going to go make another one. Once you've done all of that, obviously then you sew the whole thing together so that you have an idea of how you want it to lay out. Okay, so just make sure that it looks, you know, that not too many colors are close to each other. Once you sew the whole strip set together, it's going to look like a very long rectangular quilt, and that is correct. So don't get confused thinking that you've done it incorrectly. All right, press it really nice and flat, give it some good steam, because obviously there's a lot of seams in here. Make sure your seams are matching. If they aren't, don't make a big deal about it. Okay, use very high contrasting colors. As you can see, mine is, there's lots of blues and reds and green. This looks really beautiful. So the quilt is coming along really nicely. Colors are working together very well. Remember also that as with a scrappy quilt, we still need to make sure that everything works together nicely. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now and make my other half of this particular one, and then I'll come back and show you the next stages. All right guys, so I have completed the whole row of the 72 squares together, and I've ironed it really flat now. Now the next stage is to count 6 across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're going to cut a diagonal line right through to the top up there. So basically what you're doing is counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is our square here. All right, and so we're going to cut from that point there straight through all of those intersections there until we get there. Okay, all right guys, so again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the square you're working with. We're cutting a diagonal here, just making sure that you line up each of your intersections with your ruler. You're going to cut. I'm going to have to move my board underneath. So even if you move, all you're going to make sure is that you line up the ruler at the intersections, okay? All right, so once that's off, what you're going to do is do the other side, and then I'll show you how to join it. Once you've cut it off, you will have, excuse the wind, you would have a cut that looks like this. All right, so you're not doing anything wrong. That is correct. What I have done is just taken the bit that I've cut off and just place it on top, just to show you exactly what it is. You can actually see the difference here. So what I'm going to do now is to lay the ruler and cut this bit off as well. So I would have 2 of these triangles. All right, so that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to show you how to do that. So ideally you would have a really big V from point to point there. All right guys, so again, this is our other half. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're literally going to go that way now, cutting through each of the intersections for the squares. Right, so lay it down, your ruler that is, and you do the same thing. So even if you've got to move and make adjustments because your cutting mat is not long enough, that is not an issue, as long as you remember to go in between all of the sections. So drag it down a touch more so I can have enough to go right off the board. You come closer so you can see the intersections. Yeah, so all the way down there. And cut, making sure you hold the ruler so it doesn't move. Right, so let me just show you now and get rid of all of this. Okay guys, so when you're adding it together, when you're building the actual quilt top, you need to make sure that the short edges are together. Yeah, so imagine like you're doing a really large setting triangle and you have to have the full squares together. Okay, do not put it like that, otherwise it's incorrect. All right, so the full squares together in the middle. Obviously you are going to then stitch it together, so you have one exactly like this, and you're going to join them together and you would have your charms on point. Alright, okay, so this is finally finished. I've corrected the errors and this scrappy quilt on point looks absolutely gorgeous. I love it, love it, love it, love it. So you know I made two, and this is the red one that I showed you where I made the initial error with it, and it's just so beautiful. So what I changed was to put some squares in the corner, which corrected the problem, and therefore I had enough fabric to go all the way around all of the four corners. Okay, so remember, this is not a charm pack, it is just simply scrappy squares. Now to be honest guys, I do find it doesn't look too scrappy. I think I failed at this one. You let me know, what do you think in the description box down below? Do you think I failed at it being scrappy, or does it look like a fabric collection? Don't get me wrong, I love it, it's beautiful, I love the colors, it has come together really nicely, all the colors actually work. I made two, so I'm going to show you the other one in a second. Remember, if you want to make two, you need 72 squares, obviously. Then you don't, obviously, if you're not going to make two, and you just need to do the 6 by 12 as explained within the video. But this looks absolutely gorgeous. I didn't measure it, but I'll tell you with the other one as well, so you would know. So I'll tell you when I'm recording the blue so that you know what size they are and together, and then you can make it. But it's absolutely gorgeous guys, as I said. And again, what it does is save you time having to cut the setting triangles in the corners, you know, or around the perimeter of the square of the quilt. It does make it a square quilt, it does, but however, if you wanted to make it more rectangular, you could change the size of the border. So you can do one, say for example my borders are 7 inches to the top and 6 inches at the side, so it does look slightly rectangular. However, if you wanted to change that as well, make it slightly smaller, you can do that to give it a rectangular look, or add another border around. But I think it's beautiful here. This quilt can be used as a baby quilt, obviously, if you don't want to add the 2 borders or make your borders a lot more smaller. That way it's suited as a baby quilt, or even a picnic blanket, or a wall hanging, or lap quilt, you know, any use. But choose your colors in reference to what you want for your scrappy quilt. I do find this one looks a lot red, hence the reason why I have put the red border around it. Okay, so I'm going to bring the blue one on now, and I'll show it to you how it look. I was trying actually to get some pictures outside, but it's so windy. We are now in the Outback. We've moved from where we were last week, and it's very windy outside. It's beautiful and sunny, but quite windy. So I'll show you a bit pictures of where we are once I've actually finishing recording this. But it looks really lovely, guys. I love the red. Let me show you the blue now. All right, guys, so this is the blue one, and this one measures 51 by 51. So this one is a true square quilt. The red one was 53 by 55. Okay, and you can see I added a blue border with the red, so I was going to switch up the colors and make sure that my print, especially in the corner there, they were all laying upright. I'm referring to the red in this particular case. Same with that one in the corner there. All right. So yeah, it looks really beautiful. I chose blue borders because I felt the blue would have worked. Again, I could have gone for green, but to be honest, guys, I didn't really have it. I was just using what I literally have with me. Scrappy series, so you use what you do have. But both of them looks beautiful. I do favor the red one, but the blue one is also very beautiful also. Didn't take long to make. It's a very quick quilt. You can do this within a day, to be honest. It's not a lengthy process. I didn't quilt it, or I haven't quilted them as yet. I think you know why, because obviously I am not in my sewing room, and so I think when I am finished with this road trip I would have lots of quilting to do. But do let me know which one you prefer, the blue or the red, or you think it's not very scrappy. I don't think it's very scrappy. I think it looks like a fabric collection, which I think is nice anyway, but the objective is to make it look scrappy. Do let me know in the description box down below. Well guys, I think I'm going to leave it here. This is all I have for you now, and join me again for next week's tutorial. So don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, give the video a thumbs up, and I shall see you in the next one. Happy quilting, and bye for now, guys. Love you so much. Thanks for everybody who have supported me so far, and really leave a message. I really look forward to seeing your messages. So thanks again, guys. Bye. Hi guys, so we are at a caravan park called Woomera, well, in the area called Woomera, and we are literally in the Outback. As you can see, my location has now changed yet again, and I'm just going to give you a pan round and so you can see exactly what it's like. I'm bringing the camera really close to my face, which I don't really want to do, but yeah, this is where we're at. That's our setup over there. That's where we are situated, and that's everybody else along there. It's very huge, but very much so gravel that you're on. So it was really nice long ride driving all the way up. We did stop at other places just as a little break and stuff like that, but yeah, this is literally where we are. So remember I said I was trying to take the pictures of the quilt, but I couldn't because the wind is coming from this direction you're looking at there, and it's quite windy, but it's not cold, it's just nice cool air. Say hi, darling.
Hi, darling.
But yeah, this is where we are. So we'll be here for one night, and then we're moving on to where we're going to, darling?
Not sure, probably
Quilting.
but we could well go straight past it.
Alrighty then, guys, so I'll let you know where we are in the next one.